Y'all can just continue to sing that. Yes. In the rich weave of a nation, ancestors will dance in the fabric, the songs they sang echoing on. From the wisdom and folly of elders, traditions persist. For the good and the ill, a shared story when truths are told. The truth that we are woven together, aware through traditions. The whispers in ancient oaks. Are we going? The laughter of the young together. Our heritage calls, echoing voices, urging love and summoning joy. In all our veins flows the one blood of history. Promises broken, injustices done, and we forgive the past as best we can for ourselves. The true and the real, a vision beyond time's horizon. Roots deep, branches reaching. Treasure this heritage. Our heritage is a treasure binding us together, united in this quest to free each other. Thank you. I hope y'all enjoyed experiencing that as much as I did. I'm not sure if y'all could hear the words and feel the songs. There's treasure in this heritage, and if we forget, we can always go back and get it. We do that through our songs. We do that through our written words. And we also do that from our experiences when we share them. And so I want to ask y'all something. I know y'all didn't realize y'all was going to participate as much as I'm calling y'all to do. So I know that some of y'all are longtime UUs, and some of you are brand spanking new. We have a visitor today. But I'm going to ask this question anyway, and what it is, what is the coolest, most wonderful thing you know about this faith or this church? I'll say it a different way. What is something you treasure about Unitarian Universalism or this particular church community? This is a real question, and I'm going to give y'all a minute to think about it and share it with someone close by you. Folks online, please put it in the chat. Even if we don't share them online, the experience is to just get us willing to share. What is something you treasure about Unitarian Universalism or this church? Just one thing, one thing. Y'all don't look enthusiastic to participate in this. Just think of one thing and share it with the person next to you. One thing. And if y'all could start wrapping up. I love seeing the enthusiasm in the shares. I don't have my Vimeo chat pulled up. Linda, are you able to see if folks put things into the chat?
Yes, can you hear me?
Yes.
Okay.
Please.
We have lots of things in the chat.
Just maybe share a few. I really want the folks online to feel included in this question. So we'll just share 2 of them or so from online.
I have spiritual openness and nourishment.
Yes.
Intellectual stimulation. This is 2, but I love seeing joyful children.
Yay.
Rolling around front for story, sharing time, Susie, owl. I could go on and on.
Well, amen. I am so grateful that folks got so engaged with being able to name things that you love about this faith or this church, both, all of the above. And I ask y'all to do this because I really, really want to be a part of encouraging us to be able to, on a dime, to be able to share about this faith, because there are things that we love. There are reasons that we keep showing up here and online. I will say, for myself, as a person who didn't grow up UU, and I only found it after experiencing church hurt for being queer and Christian, I know that this is also the story for many UUs. One of the coolest things to me about this faith is knowing that even before I was born, back in 1970, Unitarian Universalism was the first religion to officially condemn discrimination against homosexuality. I know now in 2023, there are a lot of religious organizations that identify as open and affirming, but I think it's cool that we are the first to have a publicly gay ordained minister who is UU, and that UUs have been ordaining transgender ministers since the 80s. I was born in 83, and I'm just saying that makes me feel really awesome to know that we go way back about this freedom. Although we may not always get our practices of welcome and inclusion just right, it is beautiful and powerful to know that we can extend this heritage of gender affirmation. I treasure this truth about our faith. Another truth that I treasure of our UU heritage is that throughout history, we have been willing to be heralded as heretical, unorthodox, and rebellious. We've been labeled heretics not because we desire to be rebellious, although some of us do like being rebels. I'm kind of one of them. But even with this said, we're not heretical because of the desire to be rebellious or not. It's because we believe in having choice in our faith. Heresy in Greek means choice. To just give a little bit of history, I'm not a history buff like Reverend Holly was, and so it's not going to be the same kind of telling, but it'll be a little bit more condensed, but I am going to share it as a part of our journey and our heritage. So during the first 3 centuries of the Christian church, believers could choose from a variety of tenets about Jesus and his place within the Trinity with God and the Holy Spirit. Many of the early Unitarians saw Jesus as a spirit-filled human being and as a great moral teacher. They believed that rather than Jesus asking us to worship an unattainable divinity, early Unitarians, who weren't yet called Unitarians, believed Jesus called us to become fully realized and loving human beings. Then in 325 CE, Christianity lost its element of choice, and the Nicene Creed established the Trinity as dogma, as incontrovertibly true, and to be anti-Unitarian was heretical. Our name, Unitarian, referring to the idea of one or uni-God, not three, originated as a pejorative, a religious slur. We went against what was right in the eyes of Orthodox Christianity, which we still do, and our heritage as heretics literally lives in our name. Our Universalist origins are no less rebellious. The teaching of hell and eternal punishment was an ancient Christian controversy. Some teachers, like the philosopher Origen, often regarded as the first Universalist, insisted that the loving God, whom Jesus called Father, would never condemn his children to an eternal hell. This teaching of universal salvation was declared a heresy in 544 CE. And then for over 2,000 years, liberally minded people were persecuted for seeking the freedom to make religious choices. Even where the harassment wasn't so extreme, people still opposed the idea of choice in matters of religious faith. Freedom became central pillars to both Unitarianism and Universalism, and growing out of this liberal theology was a lasting impetus in both denominations to study and promote texts from world religions other than Christianity. By the beginning of the 20th century, humanists within both traditions advocated that people could be religious without believing in God. No religion, no one person can embrace all religious truths. In the words of the late Reverend Dr. Forrest Church, we Unitarian Universalists have inherited a magnificent theological legacy. In a sweeping answer to creeds that divide the human family, Unitarianism teaches that we spring from a common source, and Universalism proclaims that we share a common destiny. We're going somewhere together, y'all. So throughout our long history, mainstream conservative Christianity has tried to silence or destroy us. They have been threatened by UU values and principles because we undermine traditional institutional power and patterns of controlling people through forced religious belief. We encourage freedom. Freedom of thought, freedom of expression, freedom of spirit. But I wonder how many of you in your own lives have experienced some level of hostility from people opposed to the open and liberal nature of Unitarian Universalism. Being a UU in the South, I know that many of us are subjected to, I call, religious microaggressions or mini persecutions for being a member of this heretical faith. It could be just some superficial, simple remarks like, "You're a uni, what? What kind of name is that? How do you call your gatherings worship if you don't worship God? Church is supposed to be like," fill in the blank. And if it's not that, that doesn't sound like church. Have any of you ever been questioned about your faith in this way? I see nods and head shakes, and it's probably people on Vimeo also agreeing. It's a form of bullying, and it reminds me of some of the stories from some of the people from the story with Sankofa, but I'll get to that. I remember one day during the first week that I started as a hospital chaplain, I was wearing a crystal pendant, this one, around my neck, and the nurse questioned me about it. She asked what it was and what it meant, and I told her that the crystal was black obsidian and that I wear it because I think some crystals have energetic power to assist in supporting our intentions. She asked me, "What kind of minister are you supposed to be?" I told her I'm the kind of minister that supports spiritual freedom and practices of earth-centered traditions. She said my church must be one of those new age religions founded by pot-smoking hippies preaching peace and love. There was no doubt in my mind that she was saying this to be rude, but beyond my irritation that she was, talking down on my church, I was also a little amused because despite the true historic nature of Unitarian and Universalist traditions, I can still totally imagine a few folks who took part of the 1961 merger as pot-smoking hippies preaching peace and love. I laugh about it, when I was preparing for this reflection, but to be honest, at the time, I was offended. I was offended because she was talking about my people, my church, and she was talking about my ministry. This is where I say it reminded me of the story for all ages about the Sankofa bird. The part when Sankofa left her village and was surrounded by all of those boring, bland, orthodox birds. Sankofa had been confident and bold, strutting around with her colorful feathers, and I imagined her feathers shining the way my crystal shined on my fresh button-up shirt at work. And before Sankofa could strut her stuff, someone burst out laughing. "You're a uni, what? What kind of name is that? How do you even spell that crazy thing? Chaplain, you're not supposed to look like that with crystals all around your neck." The nurses crowded me with questions, touching my crystal. Sankofa was about to cry. Not me. I was not about to cry. It was Sankofa. But I was hurt. It was my job to nurture spiritual dialogue with patients and staff, but the way that lady came at me had me questioning myself. At first, I stopped wearing my crystal necklace, afraid that others might judge me or be put off by it. But my spiritual ancestors, they weren't having it, and I woke up one morning before work and felt like my crystal was speaking to me like the elders that were talking to Sankofa. They were like, "This crystal is the symbol of your people. It's the symbol of your essence. It's what makes you, you, and perfect as a UU." Did y'all catch that? My spiritual ancestors told me that I was a descendant of magic that made this symbol, that colored each of my miraculous crystal feathers. They reminded me that I am never alone in this journey, that you are never alone in your journey. You have a legacy behind you and ahead of you. Thousands combined and mingled inside of this lineage of faith, holding all of you, all of us. Now, I'm no Sankofa bird, and you'll probably think I'm lying when I tell you that after that situation with the nurse, I made it my business to go back and get it. Go back and get the confidence that she took from me. I reached back in my heritage of faith and reclaimed the courage that it took for my spiritual ancestors, for our spiritual ancestors, to dare to be different in the face of orthodoxy. I reached back into my jewelry box and put back on my crystals and my UU necklace. Y'all see I got on both. And this prompted others to ask me about Unitarian Universalism. I don't know if any of you struggled or have struggled with sharing about this unique, unorthodox religion of ours, but it is my hope that being reminded of our dual heritage of overcoming labels of heresy has inspired more courage in you to tell someone about this liberating faith. A faith with a heritage full of forebearers that were as bold as Sankofa, forebearers like, and I'm going to just name drop because I did actually do this with the nurse when I went back and was like, I know you thought that this was a new tradition, but let me tell you about some people. So there was Susan B. Anthony, and there was Frances Harper, an abolitionist, one of the first African-American women to be a published writer. Alexander Graham Bell, who invented the phone, was UU. P.T. Barnum of Barnum, Bailey, and Circus. I don't know if y'all knew that. Was UU. I mean, that kind of explains it, Circus, but maybe that wasn't a good one to include, but I still did. I also shared about Clara Barton, the organizer of the Red Cross, Olympia Brown, the first woman to be ordained as clergy, the scientists Charles Darwin and Isaac Newton. Even this one, when I was preparing for this, I found this out. Daniel Webster, to whom we owed the dictionary, was UU. I was so proud to find these names. I was so proud to claim them as a part of my heritage, to stand on them and be courageous and be like, yeah, that's my people. We not new at this. So in my closing, I would like to share words that are similar to as I started with the poem. Well, the other one, I don't know if they call it a poem, but it was. The words are, in the ways we move forward in our lives and bring our world forward with us, it is right to remember the names of those who gave us strength in this choice of living. It is right to name the power of hard lives well lived. We share a history with those lives. We belong to the same movement. They too were strengthened by what had gone before, and they too were drawn by the vision of what they might be. Those who lived before us, who struggled for justice and suffered injustice before us, they have not melted into dust and have not disappeared. They are still with us. Their lives, the lives they lived, hold us steady today. Their words remind us and call us back to ourselves. Their courage and love evoke our own. We, the living, carry them with us. We are their voices, their hands, and their hearts. We take them with us, and with them choose the deeper path of living free. I conclude that there is a treasure in this heritage, and if we forget it, we can always go back and fetch it. Thank you.